and welcome to another episode of What's Up Missoula, where MCAT interviews representatives from local nonprofit organizations. And with us today we have Smoke Elser, and he is with the Missoula chapter of the Backcountry Horsemen of Montana. Welcome to the show, Smoke.
Thank you.
All right, and with today we have a lot to do, a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about your organization and what it does lots of different things, does things for different departments of the government to help clear passages for different things, and it's so complicated we're going to have to get right into it. But a lot of the show we're going to show the work that's done on a video that you brought to us.
Sure.
But so we're going to get there in a moment. In the meantime, tell me, when did this organization, Backcountry Horsemen, and so you have a lot of members. How many do you have here in Missoula?
In Missoula, we have about 150 members right now.
Okay. And then this is throughout the state.
Yep,
and
it is.
And how many do you think there are in the state?
We have about 17 chapters right now, and we have about 1,600
wow.
members.
Okay. And why was the organization first founded?
It was founded because the agencies were looking at downgrade in their money. And with that downgrade, of course, they weren't able to maintain trails.
So they were closing down
the trails were just falling apart, and that was one of the main things. And another thing is they were starting to close trails because they thought that nobody was using them anymore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the government agencies, the Forest Service, the BLM mainly, were closing trails.
And when was that?
That was back in about the 70s.
Okay. And so you people got together, some horsemen got together and said, we need to fix this.
Yes.
And turn it around.
Yep, we need to turn it around. Closing the trails to horses in the backcountry was not an option.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so what you do now is you actually help those agencies.
That's right.
By keeping the trails clear.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
We volunteer to clear these trails. We feel that if we use the trails, why shouldn't we be somewhat responsible for maintaining those trails?
Okay. And you create new trails? Are you allowed to do that?
No, we don't. Okay. We usually don't. We just maintain the trails that have been on the forest for many years.
Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the film that you brought, and we're going to watch that while we kind of talk over it. And most of it is self-explanatory, but we're going to, some things I'm not quite understanding. So
sure.
We'll go ahead and look at that as soon as we can. In the meantime, you do educate people on how to be good horsemen.
That's right. We run quite a few different clinics on horse activities, as well as how to be safe around horses. Mm-hmm. We teach a defensive horse safety course for the agencies as well as for ourselves.
Okay. And so you work with organizations such as the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts.
Yep.
And so they approach you, and you guys get together and help them discover how to be good with horses in the backcountry.
That's right. The Bob Marshall Foundation and the Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, and so forth.
Okay. And so tell us about some of the adventures. I mean, in one of those pictures we saw a picture of a bear. So do bears give you a lot of problems when you're out there?
They don't give us much problems because we help the agencies explain to the average user of the backcountry how to be around bears. Mm-hmm. And how you must protect your food, keep it away from the bears so that they don't bother you.
That's important.
Yeah, we feel it is.
Yeah. And so how many horse owners are there in, let's just say, Missoula alone that are members of your organization?
We have about 150 members here that have horses, and most of them have 2 and 3 and up to 5, 8, 10 head of horses each. In the Missoula area, the horse population is very, very large.
Really?
And I wished we could give you an economic impact of the amount of horses and the type of horses that are here, horse trailers, and then all the trucks to pull them and so forth.
Okay. And so people can have horses in the city of Missoula if they have a certain amount of acreage per horse. We were thinking maybe
correct.
an acre and a half,
yeah, that's
generally
correct.
speaking.
That's right, generally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in order to be a part of your organization, do they have to own their own horse, or can they rent a horse and bring it along? Or
No, you know, Backcountry Horsemen is a real unusual organization. It's kind of like the Lions Club. You know, you don't have to own a lion, and you don't have to own a horse to be in the Backcountry Horsemen.
okay, so you can rent a horse.
That's right, or borrow a horse.
All right.
You bet.
So, and you have a lot of annual events that happen,
Lots of them, yes.
and your members will, a lot of your members will be a part of that. What is the biggest thing that happens in a year? Like how many?
Probably, let's see, we have about 3 major events. Our Christmas party, generally in December, and then we have a membership drive potluck, which is generally in February, and then we have our annual stake ride, which is on Father's Day in June.
Oh, what happens on that stake ride?
Well, we invite the public to come up and participate. We usually have it at the Clearwater Game Range in the Blackfoot, and there they bring their own horses or get a horse some way, and we take people for a 2, 3, 4-hour ride, and then our club sets up a camp, and we cook them a steak dinner.
Yummy. Great. And so kids are there and everything?
Yes,
And
yeah, we encourage families. This is a family operation. The fact of it is, the Backcountry Horsemen is a family organization.
Okay. And so people show up with trailers and their horses in trailers. I
Yep.
mean, they're not like riding their horse from Missoula
No,
to there.
not at
Okay.
all, no.
All right. And so you must have to make a big effort to get that all organized, because
Yes.
how many people show up for that?
We'll have we've had anywhere from 250 as small as 75, 80. The last few years it's been around 100 to 125, 130 people.
Okay. And so you have an event in December, and tell me about that one.
That's our Christmas party, and that's everybody's invited, and we generally invite other members of state organizations. They come and participate in our Christmas party. It's generally held in a barn.
Okay. And so are there horses involved in that, or that's
Not
just
at all.
more people?
No, no.
Okay. So here I see, and we're looking at a lot of pictures
Yep.
of you guys go in there with chainsaws and
Yep.
whatever you need to help to
Cross-cut
support
saws.
the trails. Yeah.
In the wilderness areas, we're not allowed to use chainsaws.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because the noise and
Yeah,
stuff.
well, it's just not allowed. Any kind of mechanized equipment like that is not allowed in the wilderness.
Okay. And so originally, like right now, when you go in and make a trail, I mean, you guys are in constant contact with the Forest Service, or?
Yeah, they quite often will send a representative with us from the district that we're working on. Although sometimes the district says, look, this is what we need done, and this is where we're going to do it, where we want you to do it. And they trust some of our members to go out and organize that effort and build that trail or reconstruct it.
And you're all volunteers,
All volunteers.
so it's just sort of almost like a sport. You know, you go out,
Yep,
you have
it
all your
is, it
equipment,
is.
put it all together,
Yep,
bring
that's
some
right.
new people along, anybody that wants to participate.
Just about always.
And that would be a learning experience
Yeah,
for them.
That's correct.
How to
That's right.
pack
That's
the
what
horses
We do. That's
and-
what we do.
And you were telling me the horse weighs how much usually?
Well, it depends, but the average horse is probably right around 1,000 pounds.
Okay. And they can pack 1/5 their weight.
They can pack
Couple
1/5 of their
hundred
weight.
pounds.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Yep.
And so are all the horses used as pack horses at one time or another? Or are there certain horses that are not good for that?
Generally, we have riding horses and we have pack horses or mules. Quite often we'll have mules too.
Oh, yeah? Are mules stubborn, like they say?
Not at all.
They're not?
No.
That's
Mules-
just a lie.
Yeah, that's right. It
Oh,
is.
okay. So is that a mule there on the right?
That's a burro, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a burro.
Yeah, or it might even be a pony. I'm not
Oh,
sure. Real
okay.
close. I'd have to look real close.
Well, what's the youngest age of people that you've dealt with? back?
We take kids 2 and 3 years old, 4 years old. Back.
Yeah. And so they just ride along with their parents.
That's
or
right.
something.
That's right.
Yeah. And so do you take young horses, colts, on these trips for any
Generally
reason?
not.
No.
We need to have horses that are well trained and are familiar with the backcountry.
What happens like if you run across a rattlesnake or something? What's the deal?
Well, you have to be careful, and our club members are all very well aware of all the dangers and the hazards in the backcountry. Our biggest hazard now happens to be trees falling down, mainly because of the forest fires.
Oh yeah, and the drought.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, of course, we have to cut those trees out of the trail then. And we generally use crosscut saws. That's a misery whip.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yep.
So is there one person at each end of those?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
You got to remember to pull, you don't push.
And so, okay, got that. Do you like wet the tree, or how do you
No.
make it easier?
No.
No way to make it
Just
easier.
sharp saw
Wow,
and a lot of muscle.
yeah. It keeps you in shape.
Yep, in pretty good shape. Yep, you bet.
How old do you think the oldest member is that goes riding back?
Oh, golly, let's see. Well into their 80s.
Really?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
So, what other problems, like moose? Are they a little problem
Oh, yeah.
for you?
Moose can be a real problem to horsemen. But as I said before, our club members we have a lot of experienced club members that know how to handle that situation and know where to go to avoid those kind of encounters.
Yeah, because the moose they have their own territories.
That's correct. Yeah.
So tell me about a moose encounter. Had any that you can think of?
Oh, yeah. Occasionally you'll run
They're
into
so
a moose.
big.
Yeah.
They're
and-
much bigger than a horse, right?
Yep. And horses are very frightened of moose. And
Yeah.
you'll have to really control your horse or get the heck out of the way.
Yeah. And so will a moose just come right up and try to?
Yeah, they're generally, in their rutting season, they're really pretty dangerous at that time because they aren't a bit afraid of man.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we've got the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and
Yep.
other organizations that
Yeah.
use you guys. And what about like if somebody came to Montana and they wanted to make a movie or something? Would you help with that?
We
Or-
don't like to promote the excessive use of the backcountry. However, we would do documentaries and that kind of thing. Yes, we'd probably help with that kind of thing. But what we try to do is we really try to maintain the trails and keep them available and open for all the public, the hikers, the horseback riders, all these kind of people.
Well, Montana certainly has a long tradition of horsemanship. And now, do we have wild horses in Montana? Is that
Yeah, oh yeah, the Pryor Mountain Range has quite a herd of, that's under the management of the BLM. They have quite a herd, and that's out of Billings. And there's small bands of horses around in other areas also.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you have anything to do with them, training them or anything?
No, not at all, no. However, we will work in the adoption program. When the BLM brings in horses where there's too many, we help in that adoption program.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so how do you help with that?
Well, we allow them to come into our functions and advertise their auction, and they can auction off wild horses. And certain clubs, well, our club, for instance, we put on training, how to train a wild horse.
Really?
Training
Wow.
programs. Yeah.
And so how do you train a wild horse?
Well, I can't explain it right here.
That just sounds, is it like the horse whisperer approach, or is
Yeah, in some respects, yes. But to train a wild horse takes a lot of time, and a lot of experience. And that's why our members, we have people who are veterinarians, we have people who are horse trainers, and we have people that are outfitters, packers. So among all the experience that we have, we're able to put on a sort of a clinic in how to train a wild horse.
So if someone wanted to join your group and maybe they don't
Yep.
even have a horse, they just
That's
want
right.
to know about it.
That's right.
Do you have like a meeting they can come to?
Yeah, we hold our meeting is held the third Wednesday of every month at the Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks on Spurgeon Road.
Oh, good. Third Wednesday of every month. What
7
time?
o'clock.
7 p.m.
Yep.
Do they just show up or should they
Just
call?
show up and we'll make you welcome.
Okay, and so they could go to a few meetings and start to get their
That's
feet
right.
wet
That's right.
and maybe rent a horse.
That's right. We have programs at those meetings. You know, there's different kinds of programs. We have first aid and veterinary. A veterinarian will come in and give us some veterinary tips on horses. We have knot tying programs. We have all kinds of programs.
Okay. Not tying. That's good. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's definitely part of it.
Yep, you have to know how to tie certain knots.
So when people come to these meetings, let's say they can hook up with somebody that maybe would let them use a horse for the
That's
day.
right. That's correct.
So that's a possibility.
That's usually the case.
And so what's the smallest trip that someone would go on with how many people?
We 2 and 3, 4 or 5 people go on trail rides. We have trail rides almost every week during the summer and good weather times. And up to 10, 12, 14 people will go on a ride.
And what's the shortest ride?
No, the shortest ride would probably be only an hour or two.
Yeah, because you
Over
got to
on-
get used to it.
Yeah,
so.
over on Blue Mountain.
Oh, really? Right up Blue Mountain?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, we're involved right now in trying to rebuild the trailhead there so that it's more accessible to horses and more safe for all kinds of users, hikers as well as horsemen. Right now, it's a combined trailhead, and we feel that the stock and the horse trailers and trucks should be separated out a little ways away from the hikers so that we aren't injuring anybody and nobody's in danger.
So what's the largest group that you go out with?
Well,
Is that
in the
100?
wilderness, yeah, in the wilderness, we're not allowed to take more than 15 people total
Okay.
in any one group.
Oh, I see.
So a lot of our groups are 8, 10 people that will work on a trail and go in that way.
So what's the law about the like with dogs, you have to pick up what they leave behind. Is there
Oh, yeah.
some rule about that with horses?
No, there is not.
There isn't. Oh,
No.
I just wondered.
No, that's good fertilizer for the trail.
It is good fertilizer. Okay, yeah,
That's
because
right.
I know dogs,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not good for
Yep.
fertilizer.
No, that's right. We don't
Okay.
particularly like dogs on our rides either.
Do dogs give you trouble?
Yeah, they quite often run out through the brush and bring in game that you may not want, like a bear.
Yeah.
And they can also scare horses because they jump up out of the trail right in front of your horse.
Yeah.
Unknown.
Yeah. Are there certain dogs, though, that maybe are the exception?
Oh, yeah. Occasionally we'll have a backcountry horseman will have a dog that's especially well trained with horses, and that helps.
Now, are bears a problem? I mean, are they afraid of horses? Or do
Yeah,
they
generally.
probably avoid them, don't
Yeah, generally bears will avoid horses because horses are a very, very big animal. And a bear, generally they'll avoid the horses.
they? Yeah. What about like mountain lions? Has that ever been an issue?
Never been an issue. And again, the horse is a very large animal, and for that reason, lions are not too enticed by the horses.
So you have chapters all over the state, and do
Yep.
you often have people will be in your chapter and then they'll go down to another chapter in another part of the state because they want to explore a different place in the state?
Yeah, that's true. Well, a lot of times if you live in an area, you belong to that chapter and you stay with that chapter. But if you move over to another area, then you join another chapter. You can join, well, like I say, we have 17 chapters in the state.
But like if you wanted to go to, I don't know where
Oh.
else they have, I don't want to name a place,
Yeah.
like Glacier, they
Oh,
probably
yeah.
don't let horses there, do they?
You bet they do.
They
Matter
do?
of fact, we'll be
Oh,
working
good.
a work project in Glacier Park this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of times each chapter will put out a newsletter, and if I get a newsletter from say Butte or from Billings, and or from Great Falls, and I want to join a trail ride that they're having, I just give them a call and I go over and join their trail ride, or go in and do a work project over around Gibson Reservoir, or down in Iditarod up in the Big Creek area or wherever.
So with these horses and what you're doing, do you run the horses ever in the wilderness? Or?
No, these are trail rides, and that we teach people how to handle horses, how to work with horses, and this is a work project where the horses walk.
And so is it bad form to run your horses in the
Well, it's a little
wilderness?
dangerous if you don't have somebody that is very experienced with horses. And second of all, you got a lot of things to trip on and holes to step into and logs to
Go
jump
for
over.
holes
Yeah,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing.
Yeah. So the saddles that are used are always the Western, traditional
Yeah,
Western
generally,
saddles?
although we have a few people that ride with an English saddle or an Australian saddle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they're just more comfortable on that, and they
Well,
know how to ride.
that's
a
right. They know
specific
how to
way,
ride
and the
that
horse
particular-
is
right,
more comfortable.
that's right.
You have any Tennessee walkers?
Oh, yeah.
I
You
love
bet.
Tennessee
Yeah.
walkers.
But generally, everybody rides with a Western stock saddle, mainly because we can tie a lot of things on there, and we can have our saddlebags, which have our lunch in them, and our water bottles, and we can carry an axe on the side or a saw to cut out a limb or an obstacle on the trail.
And so when you pack up for a trip, does everybody take a little bit of what's needed for the trip on their horse, or is it loaded on one horse, or?
Yeah, if we go in overnight, we usually have pack horses, and we use pack horses to carry our gear in. If it's just a day ride, we'll split up the equipment, saw and axes and so forth among the riders. But generally, we like to have a pack horse. It's just a lot safer. Our goal mainly is safety.
Okay, and so with children, is there any special things with that? I mean, when can a child ride by itself that you would feel comfortable with on a horse?
Usually we like to wait until they're 8 or 9 or 10 years old at least. And then the parents have to judge whether the child is ready to ride a horse in the backcountry.
Okay, so are there a lot of people that come from out of state that just go marching right into it, and has that been a problem, or?
Yeah, that's usually a problem. People come to this state with horses or rent horses in this state, and then they get into all kinds of trouble because they don't know where the feed is, they don't know what they're supposed to be feeding their horses, they don't know how to care for those animals in the backcountry, they don't know how to prevent sores and injuries. So that's really a problem. And that's one of the reasons why the Backcountry Horsemen was formed.
Yes, to educate people.
That's right.
And to make
That's
sure
right.
they can treat
That's
them
right.
well.
That's right.
And so you must just love horses.
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. Horses
Yeah.
and mules.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. And so you have, how many horses do you have now personally?
Well, I have 12 head of
You have
horses
12
and mules
now.
myself. Right
Yeah, and is there one in particular that you ride all the time?
Generally, although I ride about 3 different ones.
Yeah.
And a mule.
Yeah. And they have to be ridden. That's really
yeah.
important
Well,
when people.
Yeah,
need to
they
know
should be
that.
exercised and used. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So there are some cases I know in the newspaper in Missoula. We've heard of cases of mistreatment of horses. It's so sad, so sad. And do you deal with that at all? Helping
Yeah,
with
you know,
that situation?
we were asked to get involved in some of these cases, but we said, wait a minute, maybe there's a better way we can do that, and that's why this spring in May 16th, we're going to hold an expo, and what it is we're going to have a whole lot of different stations where you can learn how to take care of the horses properly. We felt that, yeah, you can go ahead and incriminate those people who have injured stock in the backcountry, but why do that? Why not train or teach everybody how to properly take care of their stock in the backcountry? We thought that was a better avenue to go instead of making a big political or legal problem with it. We felt that we would educate people. So on the 16th, Mark Wright is in charge of the expo, and we're going to have about, last time I was at a committee meeting, we had about 12 or 14 different stations. First aid, the proper feed, the proper saddles, safety around horses, how to tie up a horse, all those kind of things.
Where are you doing this?
And this will be at the Equestrian Park. We're in connection with the Equestrian Park people, and we're trying to establish the Equestrian Park as a major park for the city of Missoula. And it would probably be the first one and the only one in the state of Montana to where we have a park that is pretty well set aside for horse use and horse activities of all kinds. The 4-H, all kinds of organizations come there to work with their horses.
Where is it?
And it's out just off of South Avenue, between South Avenue and the State Forest headquarters.
So where is it from Fort Missoula?
Yeah, it's right across, it's due north of Fort Missoula.
Okay.
Yep.
And are there a lot of events taking place there now?
They have, every weekend is absolutely full of horse events.
Really?
Of all kinds.
All
Horse
year?
shows, yes.
Year round?
Almost year round. Usually December, January, and February are the closed months. All the rest of the time it's used, all the time. And we started establishing this many years ago to have a place where where we could put on shows. You see, Missoula at one time had the largest horse show in the Northwest.
Wow.
We had horses traveling from all over the country to come to that event. And that was held over at the University of Montana. At that time, it was Montana State University, but they had about 60 head of horses there that the university used. And they had about 40 sections of PE courses there.
Really?
Yeah.
The University of Montana.
Yeah.
And you're teaching a course now at the university?
Yeah, I teach a course, a horse
Well,
packing.
it's a college.
Yeah, it's a credited course. That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what's the course? What's it called?
It's packing, horse packing and outfitting is what it's called.
So
and
they
it's
get credit for that.
That's right. They get credit for it. It's an 8-week course. I have about 60 students.
Do they need their own horse?
Not at all.
Okay, that's
It's just
good.
like being in a Lions Club.
Yeah.
You don't have to have your own lion.
No. Well, that's very interesting. So if somebody wanted to just get their feet wet, they can
Yep.
come to one of your meetings.
You bet.
It's the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m.
Third Wednesday.
Third
Wednesday of every month, 7 o'clock, Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks on Spurgeon Road.
on Spurgeon Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I encourage anybody that wants to be around horses and learn about horses and be associated with horses, this is a good club to come to.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Smoke. It just really enjoyed talking to you today.
Thank you very much.
You bet. You take care.
Thank you.
Take care of those horses.